Hey everybody, this is Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm recording from this car in beautiful California, and we're talking King of the Ring '94. Really quick though, before we start, Andrew Lee, bro, I just want to say that I really liked the TNA NXT partnership
Yes,
because the thing about it is the AEW one, they kept saying how shitty and how stupid fucking TNA was every 2 seconds, and WWE's not doing that. And Joe Hendry, he's got like millions of hits on his debut video, more than Okada and Mercedes Moné combined. And
really?
like that's when you treat these companies seriously, people treat them seriously too.
Yes. You would think AEW would have learned that lesson from actually WWE's past,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they
Yeah,
used to do that. They used to treat if you came in from WCW, things they treated you like a joke, right?
yeah.
So it's much better now, you know.
No, I really like it, and I don't think it. Yeah, I
Because
think it.
Peter's not there.
I think Tony Khan only a year in AEW, Tony Khan showing up on TNA show and saying how stupid it was and how much it sucked, and TNA never responding. I think that did a lot of damage to TNA, like permanent damage that they're finally undoing. And you know who I blame? I blame that fat fuck Scott D'Amore, and I blame Don Callis and Scott D'Amore trying to get jobs with Tony. That's why they allowed that shit to happen. But it,
Yes.
it, it didn't do anything for TNA. All it did was get Don Callis a job.
Which was smart by Don Callis.
I know, but everyone in that company, they were fucking idiots.
Yeah,
But
like people love Scott Demore. Scott Demore was dumb. Scott
he's a
Demore
big
was constantly just trying to get himself over, you know?
he's a big stupid idiot. All right, let's talk about King of the Ring '94. When the show started, I thought it was very mid. Definitely doesn't feel as good. But then as we got further into the show, I thought it was a lot better. Let's start talking about it. What do you think overall of the show before we get into match by
I
match?
overall like this show, and this is my first time watching King of the Ring '94, and
Mm-hmm.
there's parts of me that think this is just as good as
This is good as
'94.
what?
Okay, let me rephrase that. This is not as good as King of the Ring '93, but it's not like that much of a step down.
Yeah,
All right.
I agree.
So, what about you? Did you compare to '93? What did you think?
Uh, I like. I like this better because Hulk Hogan doesn't lose, but that's like a shitty way. The '93 had better.
I like that fact that Hogan's not on this.
Yeah. '93 had better matches though. I will say Bret Hart had better matches in '93, but I kind of think '93 was a better show all in all. If you take away Hogan losing, I thought '93 was a better
So
show. This
93
show's
is a
still a
better
highlight.
show, 100%. Yeah. But 94 wasn't that bad either. This was not a bad show. I liked it. And
Yeah.
let's get right into it, man.
Let's get right
How
into it.
how appropriate is that this is King of the Ring 94. The tagline is the perfect Father's Day card taking place on June 19th, 1994. We're recording this on June 19th.
Oh yeah, it's 619 day. My nephew just told me he's in the house waiting for me so he can
Oh
play
yeah,
Sunday.
619 day. That's right. Isn't that
Mm-hmm.
crazy? We're recording it actually exactly on the
On the
same day this takes place in Baltimore, Maryland, at the
mm-hmm.
Baltimore Arena. 12,000 people are there in attendance. 185,000 pay-per-view buys. So, in comparison, King of the Ring '93, the one right before this, had 6,500 people. So this is actually double the amount of attendance. However, King of the Ring 95 would have 16,590 people, more people in attendance, and 150 pay-per-view buy, 1,000 pay-per-view buys. So the pay-per-view buys in '94 is a little more. Little
Yeah.
comparison with WCW Slamboree '94, which took place in May 22nd, which is right before, like a month before King of the Ring '94, had only 4,000 people in attendance and 105,000 buys. So even at this point, this may be WWF's low point, but they're still doing better numbers than WCW.
They are. They're
Yeah.
do they are doing better numbers. Yeah, in a way, but you can see the writing on the wall. There is like there is a feeling like that it's not what it used to be from the WWF. And there's one they do put out a video later on the show, and we'll talk about it. That it just like, why would you put this video out? Well, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but yeah, it is. What I'm saying is you can feel the momentum shift while you're watching the shows, but as of right now, WWF is a bigger draw than WCW.
Still, yes. The show starts with Gorilla Monsoon's voiceover over the city of Baltimore, and we get clips of earlier of Jeff Jarrett coming over, looking over the King of the Ring brackets, and Owen Hart shows up, and they start getting into argument of who's going to win. Then Bam Bam Bigelow shows up, then IRS, and all the heels argue about who's going to win the King of the Ring. And then we get their formal introduction with the graphics, with the music, and Todd Pettengill going over all the bracket matches and the rest of the card. We get Ricky Medlock of Blackfoot, who sings the national anthem.
This was Bruce Pritchard's idea, and by the way, Vince was not at this event. He was getting ready for the trial. There's no Vince. Vince has to like instruct things by phone, but he kind of let Bruce and everyone else run it. And Vince was not happy with this. He thought the guy did a horrible job, and I agree with him.
Those of you guys know, have you ever heard of this band, Blackfoot?
It's a fucking, you have to like beat your wife to listen to it, I think. It's one of those.
Wait, why did Bruce Pritchard pick? Is he a big Blackfoot fan?
Yeah, they were friends. This guy, I think they was in town doing a concert, and I think they went to go see them, him and Undertaker. And Ricky Medlock was like, I could do the national anthem. And Bruce Pritchard was like, fuck yeah, because, you know, I'm a fucking loser.
Bruce was like, fuck yeah, you can, dude.
Yeah, and
by the way, if you never heard of Blackfoot, their best known song, if you want to put it on YouTube, is called The Highway Song. And they are still active as of 2021 as a band. I did listen to The Highway Song. While it's not bad, it's not memorable either. Check it out.
The first time I ever heard of them was when Conrad asked Bruce Pritchard on Something to Wrestle, why the fuck did you have Ricky, whatever the hell his name is, do the national anthem? And I was like, who the hell are these two talking about? That was when I heard that. I've heard the Something to Wrestle episode about this before I even saw the show. So
yeah, I mean, while I don't think he sang it like badly, like he's better than I would sing it, but you're going from like Aaron Neville and Willie Nelson to Ricky Medlock. You know, it's Ricky Medlock. Weird. Yeah,
makes me sick. I'll tell you that much.
Gorilla Monsoon and Macho Man Randy Savage, they are on commentary, and joining them on commentary for this pay-per-view is going to be NFL Baltimore Hall of Famer Art, whose nickname is Fatso Donovan. That's right, Art Fatso Donovan is going to join them on commentary. Before I ever watched King of the Ring '94,
you heard about this commentary. This is legendary. How bad it is.
Yeah, legendary how bad it is. It was on Wrestle Crap about how bad this commentary was. So I had my hopes of him being terrible, and he is not as bad as I thought he was going to be.
Well, because once Macho Man and Gorilla realize this guy's useless, they do a lot to minimize him.
Yes. I like how in the beginning, Gorilla.
He actually he does have some funny moments where he's basically like, you guys did this shit? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. You know, his commentary, there's points in it that is actually pretty good because you're getting a perspective of somebody who doesn't watch wrestling. And he does ask some legit questions. And he does, like, this was the Art Donovan show, in my opinion. This was like, he was all over the show. He made the show fun for me. A lot of
the things that wrestle, when you actually watch the shows in full, if you just see a supercut of this, who's this guy? What? How? Yeah, it sounds like shit. But a lot of the stuff that's cool that we know as wrestle crap, when you actually watch the show in full, it's not that bad. It's the wrestle crap is stuff like Starrcade '91 and fucking Battle Bowl, which puts you to fucking sleep. You know?
Yeah. I like how in the beginning when Gorilla Monsoon's introducing him, he forgets Art Donovan's name. So he calls him Art O'Donnell. I thought was really funny. But anyway, he asked Art O'Donnell, who's his pick to win the King of the Ring? And Art picks Razor Ramon. Gorilla Monsoon then asks Randy Savage, hey, you think Bret's going to win? But Savage actually backs Diesel to win. So let's go right into the matches. First match up, the King of the Ring tournament match. We got Bam Bam Bigelow coming out with Luna Vachon versus Razor Ramon. And Gorilla tells us Bam Bam Bigelow, in order to qualify for the King of the Ring, he had beaten Sparky Plug, Bob Holly, basically. And Razor Ramon beat Quang to qualify, which I thought was pretty cool. They let us know who they had to beat to qualify.
Yeah, and Quang becomes Razor Ramon's best friend in a year.
Yeah, that's right.
He didn't realize that was the guy he grew up on the streets of Puerto Rico with, because that's Savio's backstory, that him and Razor grew up on the back streets together.
Yeah. That's which I also thought was really funny, because I thought Razor Ramon's character was supposed to be Cuban, and Savio
but you can still grow up in the back streets together. I don't know.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah,
I think they grew up in I really thought that Savio and Razor were like real friends. I didn't know what the click or anything yet. I thought they were love me. I thought
they
Scott
were
Hall brought in Savio. It turns out they don't even like each other.
Savio kind of came out of nowhere, so I thought the same thing. Like, they really were friends, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, this might sound stupid, but I thought Razor Ramon was legit Hispanic until he started working.
Oh, did I tell you? So when I came from my uncle's funeral, my family, who's all Mexican, still thought that he was Hispanic. They thought in 2024 that he was. Yeah, they thought, they were saying that. I said, it was a white guy, right? They didn't watch that. That just shows you nobody watched WCW. And they were like, "What? We thought he was Puerto Rican this whole time." I'm like, no.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
That's so funny. That's really fun, actually. That they yo, kayfabe is alive, brother. It's alive.
It never ends.
It never ends. Anyways, as the match starts with Razor Ramon throwing his toothpick at Luna Vachon, and Bam Bam attacks from behind because of this. Bam Bam Bigelow is beating on him, and then he misses a splash, and then Razor Ramon takes over. Luna starts screaming like crazy when Razor takes over, and Art asks about her, and then he's like, why is that lady screaming? And they have to explain it to her, and he goes, oh, now I get it. He's going to say that a lot. Oh, I get it now, which I fucking love. Bam Bam Bigelow hits an Inzaguri, and Art asks hey, can they use their kicks like that? Can they do kicks like that? Are they allowed to? Showing that he hasn't watched any of this ever. Razor Ramon, however, gets put into a back rack. Like, think of it like the torture rack from Lex Luger. And then Art realizes, finally at this point, Art realizes that Razor Ramon, this is the guy he picked to win.
Yeah.
At this point, he finally realizes that. And then he asks Gorilla Monsoon if he's dead. Razor Ramon, however, fights back, and both guys go down. And then when they're down, Art asks what happens next. Eventually, Bam Bam Bigelow goes up for the top rope to do a moonsault. But as he's up there, Razor Ramon gets up, grabs him, and throws him down, kind of like in a powerbomb for the win. What did you think about this opening match, Ray?
It was okay. It wasn't the greatest. I wasn't feeling the show yet. The Bam Bam never liked the Click. He thought they didn't work with him in the ring, and I can kind of see why he felt that way watching this.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I didn't mind this match. It's not a bad opening match. The both guys, Razor Ramon's super over, so having this as an opening match is fine. It's not a must-see, though. I agree. Todd Pettengill, he is in the back. He is with IRS and Mabel, whose match is next. And IRS goes off on Mabel and insults him, but then fumbles around his words when he's mentioning Tatanka.
Oh, yeah, horrible. He's horrible talker.
He's like marbles in his mouth. And then he leaves, and then Mabel fires back and starts insulting IRS, but he left already, man. So, and then when Todd asks him about Razor Ramon possibly facing Razor, Oscar, the rapper, just randomly shows up and starts talking. I was like, where Oscar was there the whole time? I had no idea. Weird.
Yeah, he was at the buffet. You didn't realize that.
At this point, Mo is really being phased out.
I think they realized Mo had no talent and Mabel had all the talent.
Yeah, Mabel just had size, really.
I mean, Mabel's definitely more talented than Mo.
Yeah, because he's moving his frame around like that, and he's got a huge frame. Mm-hmm. Let's go to match number 2, another King of the Ring tournament match, IRS versus Mabel. Art asks if IRS is one of the wrestlers. And then they said he is. And he goes, really? Because he looks like a businessman. Like, yeah, you know what, Art, you're right. He does look like a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
Art asked if Mabel is gonna wrestle with all his clothes on, and Art says, "Look at the size of him. What's his name?" I love Art. He makes it so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
IRS takes a surprise attack. He tries a surprise attack, but he ends up eating a whole bunch of buckle. And Art then asks how much Mabel weighs. And when he hears 500 pounds, because Mabel's humongous, Art says, "That's not fair. The other guy's only half the amount." I was like, yes, he's right. Oh, he's not saying anything wrong. He's right, you know? Savage covers nicely, though. This is what I liked about Savage. See, this is already match number 2, and Gorilla Monsoon's already given up. Like, he stopped responding to like Art's questions, ignoring him. But Savage was so good on commentary because he answered every single one of Art's questions, almost every single one. So when Art brings up the fact that Mabel is 500 pounds and that this is not fair, the other guy's only half the amount, Savage covers nicely. And he goes, "Life's not fair." Right? And I was like, yeah,
That
right.
was good.
Art realizes this is really fucking dangerous shit. And then he asks who the guy in the white suit is. And they're telling him that's Oscar, the manager. He's like, "Oh, I thought it was the guy from the hospital who's gonna take him to the hospital." And then Savage once again covers nicely and say, "You know what? The hospital is gonna be filled with guys after all the guys here are done wrestling." I was like, yeah, see, like he just keeps tagging onto Art's like silly little comments, and he makes it great.
Mm-hmm.
Savage was excellent. I'll ask if Gorilla and Savage enjoy doing this because he knows that they're wrestlers, and he asks if they enjoy doing this, and he says that he can't imagine that. This is far worse than football. At this point, he's like, he thinks this is terrible. He's like, they don't even have pads on. He's like, he's upset about it. He's like, this stuff's dangerous. By the way, Gorilla Monsoon called Mabel a beached whale, which I thought was funny. And what do you call it? Gorilla Monsoon also mentions how Mabel has a lot of gold in his mouth. Mabel eventually at the end goes up for the second turnbuckle, and he's trying to do a splash, but IRS strikes the ropes. Mabel falls, and IRS covers him while holding the ropes for the win. What did you think about match number 2?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
No. Yeah, this is my phone is hot. I better drive around still. I think I'm overheating my phone like this. I thought it was good. I thought match number 2 was great. No, I thought it sucked actually. What am I talking about? It was a big piece of shit. Sorry about that.
It's okay. What you need to do is take the phone away from the sunlight.
You know what I need to put in here. You're not gonna have to see me. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, absolutely. I can still hear you. I might not be able to see
no
you.
Video, no video today, folks. I know.
Yeah, as long as I can hear you, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. All right.
So
let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Yeah. So Mr. Fuji and Jim Cornette, they're in the back in the locker room with Crush and Yokozuna, and the cameraman comes in, and Cornette yells at the cameraman for being late. And he goes, "I only invited you here because I want you to know these 2 guys are going to be the next tag team champions." And then Fuji says, "Yeah, they're going to take the titles off of Head Shrinkers." I thought this was a very fun little segment. If nothing to add, we're going to move right along to match number 3, another King of the Ring match. Tatanka, who got past Crush, we just saw to qualify, and he gets these new cool tomahawk light effects, which Savage really likes. He talks about it. Then Art asks how much this guy weighs, and at this point, people do ignore him. He does ask this multiple times, how much everybody weighs. And Tatanka's going to be facing Owen Hart. Tatanka starts the attack before Owen's music ends, and Art asks once again how much Tatanka weighs. This time, Savage does respond, and he guesses about 280 pounds. Art thinks, wow, both these guys they would make great defensemen. I like that part too. Tatanka is thrown over the top rope, but he lands on his feet, and he pulls Owen out to the floor, and they start fighting. And when Owen slams Tatanka into the ring post, Art is amazed by that because he's like, "Oh my god, he hit the ring post." So that's the part I like about Art, because he's seen this for the first time. When he sees someone get slammed into a ring post, which is metal, it should be a big deal, right?
Yeah.
But Gorilla Monsoon and Savage, they've seen this so much, they're desensitized, right?
You're like the Art Donovan fan club.
Yeah. But when Art was like, "Oh my god, he hit that ring post," I was like, "Yeah, that's how you should like react, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They show IRS and Razor Ramon, by the way, fighting in the back during this match. Okay. After a missile drop kick, Owen puts on the sleeper, and then Art asks, "Is Tonka getting enough air? Is he getting enough air?" But Tonka starts war dancing out of it, and he fires back, but he can't get a 3 count. He starts arguing with the ref because he can't get his 3 count, but eventually he turns his attention back to Owen, does a sunset flip cover, but Owen sits down and covers Tatanka for the victory. Art says to Randy, "There's going to be a lot of American Indians mad about this." I like this match. Tatanka and Owen Hart was a good match. What did you think?
I didn't like it. I wasn't vibing with this pay-per-view yet. As of this match, I thought they were all very mid matches. I didn't really care about any of them. I don't know. I kind of feel like Tatanka, it's kind of done. Me and Tatanka, we're kind of done. I'm kind of done with him. Kind of stunk.
Well, so in this, just the first four tournament matches, I would say this one was the best one.
Oh wow. Okay. All right.
Todd Pettengill, remember, just the first four tournament regular ones. Okay?
Yes.
Todd
Yeah.
Pettengill, he's in the back.
I'll give you that. I'll probably give you that.
Yeah. Todd Pettengill, he's with Diesel and Shawn Michaels, and they recap their attack on Bret Hart at the King's Court. And Shawn Michaels says, "Oh, Bret says he's going to come out with Shawn." Shawn's like, who is he going to come out? He's going to come out alone. His family hates him. All his brothers hate him. And Diesel's going to win. We're going to allude to that in the match next, in the second match after this. We're going to go to our fourth and final King of the Ring regular tournament match. It is Jeff Jarrett versus 1-2-3 Kid. And Art says both guys are not as big as the previous guys we saw, which is true. But Art says Jeff has a nice tan. He must have been on some island somewhere, which is true. Art asks who this kid is when 1-2-3 Kid comes out. And he says, "Hey, he looks like a boxer." 1-2-3 Kid, by the way, he put away Adam Bomb to qualify for this. And Art says, one of the things he says, this is some of the best clotheslines I've ever seen is here tonight in this show and in all of the NFL, which is like, yeah, that's actually true. Art says Jeff Jarrett is a cutie. Did you hear that part?
Well, he is. Yeah, he is. I think he is a cutie.
This is when Jeff Jarrett had that amazing, like, flowing blonde hair, right? So he was like, "Hey, it's a cutie." Jeff Jarrett tries to go for the figure four, but then 1-2-3 Kid small packages Jeff Jarrett for the surprise victory. Jeff Jarrett is pissed off, and he power drives 1-2-3 Kid after the match 3 times in bad sportsmanship and starts some flying attacks on him. What did you think about this match number 4?
It was okay. I mean, the post-match angle plays later on. I feel like it's more about the angle than the match quality. Again, these first 4 matches, I'm just not vibing with this show. Everything was like, okay, it's fine, but it feels more like a Raw or a fucking SmackDown or a Dynamite than like a pay-per-view,
I see your point. I see. That's a fair point. Yeah, that's a fair point. It doesn't feel like a pay-per-view show at this point. I get it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
That's a very fair comment. After this, we get our first time that I'm seeing of the promos they used to do of like old versus new. They show like old, like.
Oh, I fucking hated this. I fucking hated this.
And this is to show the new generation of WWF. And the promo ends with showing the old comparison, which had Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Iron Sheik, and Ivan Putski. And then they show the new generation. We got Razor Ramon, Mabel, Owen Hart, Jeff Jarrett, 1-2-3 Kid. It's the new generation. I know why you hated this, because they're showing Hulk Hogan as being old. But you understand why they did it, though, right?
I get why they're doing it, but again, I'm fucking 13 years old. You're telling me you're telling me that only old people prefer the guys I'm into, and you're no, I'm 13. I'm a fucking child, and you're acting like it doesn't resonate. It's fucking stupid. It's like, dude, I don't know. It's so dumb, because me and all my friends preferred Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. We didn't give a fuck about Bret Hart or Owen Hart. We're not watching because you're pushing these guys, and as good as the matches are, we're not. It's like, who the fuck do you think you're trying to appeal to? You know?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, when I saw that, I knew you were hate. I knew you were
Dude, that was the moment. I was like, dude, like your show is not as good. You know what? Also, the production quality is just dog shit. It compared to like the old shows. Todd Pentagale is not as good as Mean Gene. He's not even as good as Sean Mooney. He fucking stinks. And all you're doing is, you know what? I wish I was watching Hulk Hogan. Oh, he's gonna be in WCW next month. Problem fucking solved. You know?
Yeah, I will say this. I don't think Todd Pettengill is bad. I actually like Todd Pettengill, but I
It makes me
agree.
sick.
He's not even as good as Sean Mooney. Sean Mooney is definitely better. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, so moving right along. Todd Pettengill, by the way, we're just talking about. He's with Bret Hart. And he brings up, hey, remember that jackknife you took from Diesel? That hurt, right? And Bret's like, yeah, it was the most painful thing I ever took. But you know what? I don't know if I can kick out of the jackknife. That's how painful that is. But guess what? It ain't gonna happen again. All right?
Yeah.
It ain't gonna happen. That's the whole point. I'm never gonna allow him to do it again. And then Top Petty goes like, hey, you say you got a family member coming. Tell me who it is. Tell me who's gonna be in your corner. Counter Shawn Michaels, but Bret won't give up the surprise because it's a match is right. It's next. Match number 5. WWE title match. That's right. Is the world title match is mid. It's mid card. It's not even. It's in the smack in the middle of the show.
By the way, this tells you what he thought of Bret Hart. This tells you what he thought of him. Where this match is.
Yeah, it's like smack in the middle. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And we got it is Diesel, who is the Intercontinental Champion. He comes out with Shawn Michaels, and Art asks who Shawn Michaels is. Hey, who is this guy? And is this guy one of the wrestlers? And Randy Savage says he's one of the great ones. Believe me. It's so
this is when Savage was pushing to have a feud with Shawn Michaels to culminate at WrestleMania 11, and Vince said no. And he wanted to turn heel Savage, and at WrestleMania 11, the plan is they have this big long feud, and at WrestleMania 11, Savage turns face again, raises Shawn Michaels' hands, and makes Shawn Michaels the top babyface of the company.
Jeez, and why Vince didn't he do it? Why didn't Vince do it?
Because Vince wanted to go out of business. I think that's the only reason I don't know, because he didn't believe in Savage. After all Savage did, he didn't believe in him.
It's funny.
And he almost lost it all. And sometimes I wish he did, that piece of shit. So.
Yeah. Because Vince wanted to go out of it. That's very funny. All right. So anyway, Diesel's going to be fighting the WWF champion Bret Hart, who comes out with Jim the Anvil Neidhart. And then commentators tell us he is family. He is the brother-in-law. And we get Savage, who lets Art know give some background on Anvil. He goes, Anvil, Art, because Art's a football guy. He was like, Anvil played for the Oakland Raiders. And Art is super impressed by that. And then Savage
starts jerking off.
Yeah. He loved it when he was like, oh, my God, really? And then he was like, you know why? He also has a record for anvil throwing, which is why he is called the Anvil. I love this. Savage is great. Like, he's like, all right, this guy doesn't know jack shit. So I'm going to give him all the background and stuff. It was fantastic.
Just to give you some background on what's going on. Hold on. Can I just tell you what I'm doing right now? I'm slowly driving around this block in a Mexican neighborhood, and I'm in a Dodge Charger. And when people come to the house, they look at me so suspiciously. Why is this guy just driving around? But I got to keep the phone cool. I got to keep the AC on. That's why I'm driving. So
can't you sit idle with the AC on?
I guess I can. I don't like the parking space I'm on. I don't want people in the house to hear me. But anyway, keep going. We're almost there. We're almost done with the show. So let's keep going.
So Art wants to know if Diesel also played the football as well. And Savage goes, Diesel does whatever he wants. I was like, yes, classic Savage shit. Art says this is like a story of David and Goliath because of the size difference. And it is true. It is true. Diesel's overpowering it. However, Diesel eye pokes Bret Hart, and Art does not like that at all.
Yeah.
But Bret works on Diesel's left leg, including trying to put on the figure 4. But when Bret starts working on Diesel's leg around the ring post on the outside, Shawn Michaels does a really fast running clothesline, and then has a fun chase scene with Jim Neidhart.
Jim Neidhart.
Yeah, Bret jumps off the top rope. onto Diesel back in the match, back in the ring, and Diesel loses his balance trying to catch Bret, but they do improvise even though it's a little botchy. And then Bret slingshot planches on the outside, but he hits the floor. And then now Diesel just completely takes over. Shawn Michaels acts like a pest throughout this match. He's cheap shotting Bret whenever he has an opportunity, including slapping him, and he's loosening up a buckle pad.
Yeah.
Diesel throws Bret into Earl Hebner, the referee, and then Shawn Michaels starts distracting the ref for Diesel to rip the rest of the turnbuckle pad off. And then when Diesel goes to slam Bret's head into the exposed buckle, Bret reverses and slams Diesel's head into it, and then he starts firing back. Shawn Michaels gets on the apron, but gets knocked off by Bret right into the guardrails. That was a cool spot. Bret and Diesel, they start jockeying for a backslide position, and then Bret kicks off of the turnbuckles and flips over into a small package. Very, very beautiful 2-count sequence, in my opinion. Diesel gets sent outside, and Jim the Anvil Neidhart looks to attack Diesel, but then out of nowhere, he just turns his back on Diesel, and then he gets attacked by Diesel. The commentator's question is, why did he do that? Why did he turn his back? But this distracts the referee enough for Shawn Michaels to come in and attack Bret with the belt. Diesel then hits the jackknife on Bret, but Anvil decides to get into he decides to attack Shawn Michaels and get in the ring and start attacking Diesel, which causes a disqualification win for Diesel. But since it's DQ, Bret leaves with the belt. Anvil leaves angrily, and he leaves Bret alone in the ring, who gets double teamed by both Shawn Michaels and Diesel. What do you think about this match number 5?
I really, Bret Hart put this on his final, he got to choose these matches on his Blu-ray set, and this is one of the matches he chose. And I remember him saying, he thought he gave Kevin Nash the best matches of his career. He is 100% correct. The job that Bret Hart does to get this guy over. This guy in November could barely wrestle, and now he's having a fucking 5-star match on pay-per-view, and he looks like he belongs. This is what they should have done with Wardlow 2 years ago. This is what they should have done with Luchasaurus or Powerhouse Hobbs 3 years ago. Dude, they make this guy into a legit man. This guy, 4 years before this guy can't even move as Oz. And Bret is, what a fuck, watching this, what a fucking achievement by Bret Hart. He basically makes Kevin Nash's career in 30 minutes. He sets him for life. He sets this guy for life. The finish, I didn't like the finish, but I do like it because Jim Neidhart's plan, the plan that Jim Neidhart has is Bret's got to keep the title because I want Owen to beat him, right? So Diesel basically has Bret Hart pinned, which I don't like because Bret Hart literally just won the belt. Now everybody's saying Diesel could beat him if he felt like it. But
Man, I agree with everything you said. This is really one of Diesel's best matches, and you're right. It's Bret Hart really putting this together.
I didn't
like the finish, but because it plays into the storyline, I'm okay with it.
Yes, because later on there's an explanation. Because I think without saying it, WWE's saying, well, Owen can't beat Diesel if Diesel has the belt, so Owen and Jim Neidhart have to make sure Bret has the belt, so Owen can beat him.
Yes.
I think this is actually Diesel's best match, and I'll tell you why. Because he was incapable of doing this 5 months ago. And what he's doing, most wrestlers today couldn't do what he did. Most guys that we consider great work, but guys that have been on TV for 3-4 years couldn't do a match this good. So I think this is his best match ever. Because he went from a guy who can't work to this is the match of the night. And it's not even close.
Yeah, I agree. This was good.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I'm glad we see that we're on the same page with this. Now, Tuck Pettengill, he's in the back with Jerry Lawler and says Jerry Lawler starts making fun of his opponent, which is Roddy Piper, saying he looks like a fish. And then he makes fun of Art Donovan as well. And then says, Piper retired once, but I am going to knock him into oblivion. And then he makes fun of these sick kids in Toronto. You didn't like this, huh?
I can't take Jerry Lawler. I just think he is everything that when people roll their eyes that we like wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
They picture guys like Jerry Lawler. I just think he fucking stinks. I think the only time he was good was when he was with Jim Ross. He's also he also got away with being a pedophile. I just like there's not, and we got to just pretend that didn't happen. There's nothing about him I like. It's just I like him with Jim Ross. That's it. From '98 to 2008, he's great. Everything else before and after, he should just be fucking thrown. He is just old school. Doesn't have it wrestling to me. He's everything that Hulk Hogan and the Rock and Wrestling was moving away from. You know, he's just territory bullshit. And the fact that you're telling me Hulk Hogan's for old people and you have this fucking old fucking failure pedophile cutting a promo from 1972 tells me everything.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna go to match.
Wait, do you like him? Do you like this promo? You didn't give your opinion.
No. I feel the same way. I'm like, yeah, I agree. It's like,
okay.
I mean, I don't go that hard on Jerry Lawler, right? But this is just like, you're right. This is kind of like people who don't like wrestling. Like, if you show them this would be like, ugh. How do you like
this? This is what I thought it was, and it's just you're just telling me that Hulk Hogan and fucking Junkyard Dog and all these guys are old and stupid, but you're shoving this guy in my face. This guy's main eventing, who was old in '84. You know, this guy's young and hip. This give me a fucking break, Vince.
Yeah, that's true. That's good. Very good point. Yeah, they keep saying new generation, new generation. You got Roddy Piper and you got Jerry Lawler in the main event.
Yeah, right? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here with this new generation. That makes no sense.
Two guys who can barely work anymore, and you're chasing Hulk Hogan away. Good. And look where it got you. Almost got you in the poorhouse.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jerry Lawler is entertaining, but he is like it's something.
He's had moments.
There's something that seems very regional.
When he drops the heel, I'll tell you the best moment he ever had for me was when Taz was making fun of Jim Ross, and then Jerry Lawler just punches him out of nowhere. Like when Jerry Lawler kind of becomes like a real person, he's interesting. He's interesting as like a real guy, like a tough. You don't expect that. You expect I did kind of feel like. You remember that moment on Raw in 2000?
Yeah.
It was in Madison Square Garden, and the pop was huge because he stops being like, "Oh, puppy," and he becomes a real guy. He's like, "Shut the fuck! Stop making fun of my fucking friend, dude." And that Lawler's money, but this I don't care about sick kids. Shut up.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go into the King of the Ring semi-final matches. Match number 6, Razor Ramon comes out, and Art asks, hey, this is the guy I picked, right? I was like, yeah, Art, this is the guy you picked. And Razor Ramon's going to be fighting our IRS. Razor Ramon texts while IRS is still on the outside and then runs him into the ring post again. Another post shot. Back in the ring, IRS goes flying over the top rope when Razor Ramon ducks, and then Razor slams IRS face into the steps. This match is getting dirty. IRS gets control, and on the mat, he has a headlock on Razor Ramon, and then he puts his feet on the ropes, which Art asks, why is this guy doing this? And Savage explains it gives him leverage. Also, it's cheating. Yeah, it's leverage. Also, it's called cheating. I love that. Savage was great. It was just fantastic. Art says, I don't think 1, 2, 3 Kid's going to show up tonight after that beating he took. And I was like, yeah, that's like a fun thing to add in commentary, you know? He's buying into it. Razor Ramon drags around IRS by the tie and throws him down for a cool spot. But IRS hits a forearm shot that really impresses Art. Razor eventually hits a very impressive Razor's Edge on a very heavy IRS to win. I mean, for him to pick him up and actually put the Razor's Edge on IRS is not a small guy. He's a big dude.
No.
That was very impressive. I didn't hate this match. It's all right.
It was okay. The show goes back to okay with this match. It's getting the job done. It's getting the job done, but it's not impressive me.
Yeah. After this match, they show Bret Hart walking the hallways, and he's looking for Anvil, and he's angry. Then
I would have had this after the coronation because he did kind of save you. You were about to lose. Were you really going to kick out of the jackknife? You know?
No, it's mad because he left them alone in the ring getting double
teamed. I would have had Bret Hart. Yeah, I would have done this at the very end. This was the setup. I guess I can't trust you after all these years. I would have had this at the end of the show.
Yeah, I
I
think
would,
that's a better. That is definitely the better place. 100%. Yeah.
yeah. Or
All right.
maybe you know what I would have done? I would have had him actually. He sees Jim Neidhart and he goes like, Jim, like I could have won. Like I don't need you to win the battles for me. I just need you to have my back. And Jim being like, no, you're gonna lose. That's why I did it. And like, I'm sorry, or I don't know. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah, they could have done a better job. I agree. Um, Todd Pettengill updates the brackets, but doesn't know if 1-3 Kid's going to show up for the next match, which is match number 7, another semi match. Owen Hart comes out and Art asks how much this guy weighs. Savage says about 235 pounds versus the 1-2-3 Kid who does come out, but he looks tired and he looks beat up. And as soon as he gets to the ringside, he takes a hard sliding drop kick from Owen Hart, and it's dark, so he did not see it coming. He goes flying. And he also gets a suicide dive by Owen, all before the bell rings. Owen Hart also hits a splash, but the 1-2-3 Kid kicks out, and Art is impressed by the kid's toughness. 1-2-3 Kid hits a moonsault, and then he does a Mahista cradle and karate kicks Owen Hart. All very impressive, but he cannot put Owen Hart away. Owen hits a beautiful enziguri to maintain control of this match. 1-2-3 Kid hits his own beautiful move, a Northern Lights suplex. Ref counts 3, but then he sees Owen's foot on the rope, so he calls it off. There's no bell. 1-2-3 Kid has to keep wrestling. He's firing back. And Savage, at this point, he's watching this. He goes, makes me glad I'm retired, right? Like,
when Savage likes a match, he says, "I'm glad I'm here." Like that's when you know Savage is feeling it. He's loving the match.
Yeah.
He's actually having fun watching the match.
Absolutely. And this was a fun match to watch. Unfortunately, Owen Hart catches the 1-2-3 Kid in a power bomb and then hits the sharpshooter to win. This was out of the King of the Ring matches. This was the best.
Someone said, I forget, it was a pro wrestler who said this. They said the greatest match under 5 minutes is Owen and 1-2-3 Kid at King of the Ring. And I'm be hard pressed not to agree. I think this is the greatest match ever under 5 minutes. It just goes to show you less is more, man. I guarantee you, if this was today, 1-2-3 Kid would stop selling 2 minutes in. He'd be kicking out of fucking Tiger Driver 91s, fucking getting stand right back up after getting hit with the steel steps. We do all this Osprey shit. You know what I would say to the guys like Osprey and Okada and Puma? I don't know who the fuck else. Hey, do a match like this on Dynamite. Do a match like this because you're gonna get so much more out of it, and you're not gonna fucking kill yourself. Have a match like this. Dude, this match has stood the test of time for 30 years, and these guys weren't out there for 20 minutes destroying their body.
Yeah. And I would say this, there's people who don't think Owen Hart was a good wrestler, believe it or
They're
not.
idiots. They're idiots.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you
was he? Was
good? Yeah.
I'll say this: did he make me want to watch the show? Absolutely not. I almost never watched wrestling again when he was on top. But when you watch him, he's a great wrestler.
Yeah. At this point, this is the second great match I'm seeing Owen Hart in. He had one with Bret, and then he had one with 1-2-3 Kid. He is the other factor in these good matches. So Owen Hart's great. Yeah. This is a good watch. If you want to see how good Owen is, watch this match.
Great match.
Oh, now comes one of the worst parts of the show, in my opinion. We get Coliseum video there with Roddy Piper, who's changing, and he starts.
Oh God!
Jerry King Lawler, and he starts talking about flies in Baltimore and King Toad. I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? He brings up Rodney King, Don King. This was a waste of time.
His promos on this show throughout are somehow even worse than the ones we saw in '89. I am convinced, I'm starting to believe he walked away in '87 because I think he overdosed and it affected his brain, and Vince told him to leave for a little bit because he didn't want to be held responsible. Because he is not this, his work between '84 and '87 is some of the greatest work I've ever seen any wrestler. And then he comes back in '89 and he's a babbling buffoon. And he has some type of brain damage.
I agree. I think that's very funny. That's true. I agree. We go to match number 8. Bill Dunn announces the tag titles is on the line in this match. We got Yokozuna and Crush coming out with Jim Cornette and Mr. Fuji. Art asks, what Yokozuna's weight is, Gorilla tells him it's over 600 pounds. And Art loves it. He's like, oh, it's the biggest guy yet. And they're going to be facing the Head Shrinkers, the champions, who come out with not only Alpha, but Captain Lou. I
Yeah,
forgot.
Captain Lou weaseled his way back in around this time.
I forgot that he was with the Head Shrinkers. I remember when he came out, I was like, I remember seeing this. Yeah, that's right. You know, weird placement, by the way.
Yep.
Art asked how many. There's a lot of guys, so Art's like, yeah, how many guys are going to be wrestling?
Captain Lou was the original wise man. He was with the head. He was the manager of the Wild Samoans. He was the first. He's part of the bloodline. Captain Lou. Captain Lou was still alive. He'd be in the bloodline.
Wasn't Paul Heyman managing them when they were like the Samoan SWAT team?
The Samoan SWAT team, but Afa and Sika, Captain Lou was their original manager. He was with them the entire time. So Captain Lou is in the blood. I consider Captain Lou also part of the bloodline.
The real original Wild Samoans. Yes.
Yes, I consider Captain Lou. If you asked me, I would say Captain Lou is now. He's part of the bloodline. He's the first Paul Heyman. So Captain Lou, part of the bloodline. That's it.
Yeah, I don't.
And look, he came back, and when he came back, he was with the Head Shrinkers. So to me, he's bloodline.
Yeah, you're right. I agree. That's a good point. Yeah, Art asks how many people are going to be wrestling because there's a lot of guys in the ring, and then he asks, "Hey, are these Head Shrinkers from the Pacific?" Right? Because they are, islandy. They do a double face-off in the beginning, and then all four guys are fighting, and then they do this cool Irish whip spot. And then Head Shrinkers bump into each other, and then they start fighting each other. And then they do these fun headbutt spots, which the Shrinkers win because you never headbutt and win against a Samoan.
Yes.
Samu takes the fight to Yokozuna, and he sends him outside, and then Yokozuna is phased, so he has to bring in Crush. Crush and Fatu, they face off, and Fatu is cut short, though, by Mr. Fuji, who hits him with a hard flag shot. Crush hits a hard clothesline, a pile driver, and Yokozuna double teams and hits his leg drop, and they're just demolishing Fatu. Yoko tries to do a corner splash, but Fatu moves out of the way, and then Yokozuna takes a tremendous bump from that, which looked great. Yoko he's Samoan, obviously, and he loves these guys, so he is bumping more.
Can I tell you? Let me interrupt you. I just want to interrupt you. This was the best Yokozuna match I've ever seen. And you can tell Vince is not there because he's wrestling differently than he's ever wrestled before. He is moving like he is bumping. And I know Vince was there. He'd be livid that he was bumping for the Head Shrinkers. Yes. But man, he is putting these guys over. And it's because he's bloodline. This is bloodline rules, brother.
Yeah, this is his family. Yeah. I agree.
This is my favorite Yokozuna match I've ever seen. And it might be also my favorite Head Shrinkers match. Sorry.
No. Don't be sorry. You're absolutely right. I agree with everything you just said, actually. What do you call it? Question Yokozuna. They still maintain control of this match. But out of nowhere, Lex Luger comes out. He gets a big pop, and Crush is pissed off this guy is here. And then Art asks, hey, who's the guy with the American flag? And just about when he's asking this question, Fatu super kicks Crush for the win. After the match is over, Crush goes out and he starts beating on Lex Luger. But then Lex Luger and the Head Shrinkers, triple team Crush, and then Lex takes off his shirt, revealing a very ugly red, white, and blue striped tights. Oh, these tights were awful, dude. The tights was the worst thing about this entire match. It's like everything else was great.
Yeah, everything was great. This is probably when I see the future, and I'm like, man, if they just had Yoko team with the Head Shrinkers and made them a faction, and they moved like this, and Yoko could have maintained his weight. Ooh, even Samu, all three guys would have been over as like the super, like they had something. And the way Yokozuna was moving, man, it was special. It's like, man, if this guy just put down the turkey legs, and he was still alive, he could probably still be bumping like this for fucking Cody. He would only be in his 50s, Yeah. He could have dude. It's a shame. What could have been?
Yeah. Turkey ass, man.
And the other thing too is when Vince gets out of some of these guys' ways, they could have been if Vince got out of Yokozuna's way, he could have been another Undertaker.
I agree. Like another legend, like a milestone.
The way he had, the way he had Yokozuna wrestle, because I think he dictated a lot of like he wanted Yoko to be. It did it disservice. Both did the company. Well, you know, Vince wanted to go to business. What can I tell you? He did making Yoko wrestle like shit. The Steiners are not even on this show.
Oh my god, that's right.
Like Lex is not even on the show. Like, yeah, he's telling no to Savage. He just really he's making fun of Hogan, even though these matches are good, he's making all the wrong moves, brother.
Yes. Ken Gill, he is with Owen Hart, and Owen says, you know what? Bret won the King of the Ring last year, but you know what? Tonight he was a loser. He's a loser, and I'm gonna win. And he goes, "Hey, Dad, Happy Father's Day." Right away, which I thought was
That's great. That's pretty good.
That's a fun promo by Owen Hart. I thought it was.
You know what would have been fun? You know who would have been a good tag team or promo battle? Maybe not Owen and Kurt, because they kind of like the same humor.
Yes, you know? It's a little cheesy, right? Like there's like a little bit of cheese to it, you know, but it's not like overly cheesy. But it's like the right amount of cheese. That's exactly what
he does. Like the corny wrestling thing, then he adds a line that's so fucking funny. Like, oh, by the way, Dad, Happy Father's Day. It really like
that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's really funny. Yeah, I agree. That would have been. They had that one match, you know, Owen Hart and Kurt Angle.
Oh yeah, developmental. Yeah, I would have nice to see a feud with, and also Jericho and Owen in a feud would have been good.
Yeah. So we're gonna go to match number 9. It is the King of the Ring finals. Razor Ramon, who's got a toothpick, and Art doesn't like the toothpick. Though. He's like, I just don't like the toothpick. And versus Owen Hart. Owen tries to use his speed against Razor Ramon, who's got power and size over Owen Hart, which Art thinks, you know, Razor outweighs Owen by about 30 pounds. He's probably true. And he is, by the way, Art is super impressed. He's been impressed all night by the wrestlers. And he goes, these guys, if they were playing football, they could play football forever because their conditioning on these guys are crazy. And right when he's saying that, Owen and Razor, they do this bridge out spot. And remember, this is the 3rd match both these guys are in. I was like, yeah, that's fucking impressive. These guys have wrestlers have tremendous conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
But however, at this point, Art, who's been watching this show and paying attention, he goes, I think Razor Ramon's losing now. Right? And Gorilla's like, what? What are you like?
Gorilla's like, don't give it away.
Yeah, he was like, this is the guy you picked. And he's like, Art's like, I know, but I'm watching the show, and I think the other fella, he's got a little too much going on for him. Right? I thought this was great. This is fantastic because he can see as a fan like where they're going.
Exactly.
I love that. I loved it. I love how annoyed Gorilla Monsoon got when he did that. It was awesome. After a beatdown from Owen Hart, Razor Ramon gains control with a second turnbuckle backdrop. But Owen, that body drops him over the top rope to the floor. Anvil, Neidhart just runs down, and he looks like he's trying to help Razor Ramon, but instead clotheslines Razor, then rams him into the post, another post shot, and then he throws him into the ring for Owen Hart to hit a flying elbow drop for the win. They both, we're talking about Jim Neidhart and Owen Hart, they beat on Razor Ramon afterwards, and they hit a heart attack on Razor Ramon as fans chant, "We want Bret." What did you think about this King of the Ring finals, Razor Ramon versus Owen Hart?
It was okay. You know, it's kind of funny. Razor did not impress me at all this show. It was okay again. No. This was the week. I thought this was the weakest. I guess he must start getting the good drugs around this time.
Yeah, or maybe he was just sick and tired of putting people over.
This was the best Owen match in my opinion. I mean, I'm sorry. This was the worst Owen match in my I don't know, but yeah, it wasn't that good. You would expect a lot better from Razor Owen, but it got the job done. Look, it's all about getting the angle over that now Owen has Jim Neidhart in his corner. And what is Bret going to do besides kill himself?
This show, though, it did a lot really to elevate Owen Hart.
It was all about making Owen Hart the man. Here's the problem, though. Here's the problem. Me in 1994 at 13, I don't give a fuck about Owen, and you're not going to get me to watch this fucking show. You should have re-signed Hogan. Go fuck your mother. Anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah. Ray Rougeau tries to
it's great watching him, but I wasn't like, oh, how can you say this if you don't watch the show? No, the people you're putting on top make me not even want to watch the show. So, you know.
Yeah. Ray Rougeau, he asked Bret, "Hey, what happened, man?" Bret, like, "What? You see what happened out there?" And Bret's like, "I can't comment." He walks away. Now, this is where I agree. That earlier segment where Bret is angrily looking for like Neidhart, they should have put that at least in here. This thing where Bret's
Yeah.
like, "I don't even want to talk about it." It made Bret look like a fucking piece of shit. Like, it made him look like a loser. You know?
I mean, they're doing a lot on this show to make Bret, because Vince didn't think he was the real guy. I think Vince had in his head that I think Vince already knew I want the title on Diesel, but I don't know how to do it yet. But I don't think Vince saw Bret as the guy. There was, you know, but I mean, he wasn't. I stopped watching the show, so he was right. He wasn't the guy, but neither was Diesel. You know who the guy was? Macho Man Randy Savage. Anyway, keep going.
Savage, by the way, they cut to the commentators, and Savage goes, "I have a theory, dude. I have a theory. I think the reason why Anvil did what he did earlier was so that Bret doesn't lose the title to Diesel, and they actually save it for Owen Hart." And Gorilla Monsoon is like, "No, no way, it can't be that devious." And then Art goes, "Hey, did you guys act like that in the ring?"
But I like the fact that like they fill up the plot hole right away.
Yeah.
So like me and you can't complain about it. They're like, "Oh, this is why he did it. It wasn't that stupid." And you're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. I like how like Gorilla Monsoon's reaction is like, "No, nobody would be that." Like, kind of like, "No, I can't believe that." You know?
They did it. Yeah.
But like, it was good. It was really good. Todd Pettengill, he's at the coordination platform with Jim the Anvil Neidhart, with Owen Hart, and Jack Tunney, the president. And they're there to crown Owen. Owen gets in the mic and he goes, "I won." And he wants everybody to give him some respect. And he goes, "Todd, I don't want you. I want Anvil to crown him." And then he says, "From now on, you call me the King of the Hearts." So that's a little nice celebration. Then we get a recap of the Jerry Lawler and Piper feud, where it started with Jerry Lawler dumping on Piper's pit at his own King's Court, and he starts making fun of sick Canadian kid. They keep splicing in scenes of Roddy Piper responding back to Jerry Lawler. It does end with Jerry Lawler and King's Court segment having with a skinny guy who's an impersonator of Roddy Piper. This guy, by the way, his name is Pat the Brat Piper. You can find him on Facebook, and I did friend him because I wanted to ask him questions about this, but he has yet to. What do you call it?
We don't need to ask so many questions. We just need to move on from this abortion of, so many. You know what? There is a ton of great wrestling on this show, and Vince has the right idea. They're going more in a work rate mode, and then this fucking main event, and you're like, nah, dude, this match sucked. This was a fucking horrible match. I don't know what you thought, but
I
wanted to kill I wanted to blow my brains out.
Match number 10. This is the main event, guys. Jerry Lawler walks out very slowly, walks around the ring very slowly, gets on the microphone. He calls all the fans Baltimoreans. He insults their governor who is there watching, and he says I'm not going to give any of my money to some sick kids. And Art says, "Man, this guy should have been a preacher. He's good on the mic." Right? The bagpipe band comes out, and then out comes Roddy Piper, and he brings out Pat the Brat Piper, the kid who was impersonating him. Piper puts on Jerry Lawler's crown on the kid's head, and then both together they say the classic Roddy Piper line about he came here to kick ass and chew gum, stuff like that. Piper throws his kilt on King Lawler's face, and the fight begins. He's beating on him, spitting on King, and Art, which gets Art to say, "Wow, this guy's really mad at him." Piper holds King for Pat, who eye pokes him, and then Art says, "I don't think he likes this guy at all." And it's like, yeah, he doesn't. That's the whole point. Lots of punching. There's no wrestling moves. This is punching. And then King Lawler starts going after Pat Piper, which brings him into the ring. And Piper, who has to cover this kid up, starts taking the beating instead. And this allows Jerry Lawler to take control. There's a ref bump eventually, and Jerry Lawler pulls out something from his tights. Some people will say it's brass knuckles. I say it's sexual assault. Probably, I don't know, sexual harassment from Jerry Lawler. Pulled out of his trunks, hits Piper with it. Then Jerry Lawler puts his feet on the ropes for the cover, but Pat Piper pushes the legs off the ropes, and then Roddy Piper hits a backdrop suplex for the win. Both Pat Piper and Roddy Piper, they celebrate with fireworks. This was one of the worst main events I've ever seen.
This match, you want to talk about new generation? This match would have been unacceptable at fucking Starrcade '83. Like, for this match to be acceptable as a main event, you got to go back to you have to have like a WrestleMania '75, like 1975. This match was everything that Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan and Macho Man and Roddy Piper himself were moving away from. This match is territory, old school bullshit wrestling, con man garbage. You're sitting there telling me Hulk Hogan is old, he's washed up, Randy Savage should be an announcer, fucking fuck Hacksaw Jim Duggan, fuck the Ultimate Warrior, fuck Sergeant Slaughter, but then fuck Demolition, fuck Tito Santana, but then you're old, you're stupid, and then you trot this shit out with two fucking guys. Roddy Piper can no longer go, and Jerry Lawler is a fucking failure in every way, shape, or form. It's a fucking abortion, and he should be ashamed of himself that he made this the main event. It was horrendous. It was everything that I was trying to run away from when I got into WWE in the 80s. Now you're in 89, and now you're telling me like, although this is new generation and the stuff you like the little kids sucked. Fuck you. I'm 13. Guess what? That summer, I read every Stephen King novel, and I watched Quentin Tarantino films, and I watched none of wrestling. You almost lost me with this bullshit. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. I just so you chased away Hulk Hogan for this shit. Get the fuck out of here. That's my thoughts. What's your thoughts?
It was dumb. It was a dumb main event. However, what was nice was afterwards they do this backstage segment where Shawn Michaels is trying to cheer up Diesel for losing. I'm glad at least that was the last image.
That should have been the main event. They should not have had the match that had Diesel and Shawn Michaels in the ring do that. It would have been a better main event.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
all in all,
overall, watch it. It's a fun show.
Listen, 3 great matches. The rest, it does feel like the company has still lost its way. They're putting on great matches, but it does feel like it lost its way. But the 3 great matches are fucking epic. And you know what, dude? I gotta say, I am blown away by that Bret Hart Diesel match. I'm really, truly am. Like, man, someone needs to do that. Dude, if I'm Wardlow or Powerhouse Hobbs, I go to, hey, Tony Khan, remember Diesel, Bret? And yeah, why haven't you done that for me yet? Like, let's do that for me.
4 matches on this pay-per-view that's worth watching, right?
What's the 4th match? Because I count 3.
Okay, Owen Hart versus Tatanka. I think it's still a fun match.
All right.
Yeah, and you know what?
Maybe I should rewatch.
Yeah, listening to Randy Savage on Art Donovan on commentary is worth it to me. I would say if you have nothing to do, if you're having just like you want to watch some old school wrestling, this is a fun pay-per-view to watch. In my opinion.
Well,
all right.
Next week we're going back to the old generation because remember I was 13 and I was old because I like these 2 guys. Next week's it's Bash at the Beach '94, Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair. In 2 weeks it's SummerSlam '94, Undertaker versus Undertaker. In 3 weeks it's Fall Brawl '94, the Rhodes family versus the Studs Stable, and then in 4 weeks it's Halloween Havoc '94, Ric Flair versus Hulk Hogan again. What are you looking forward to, Andrew Lee, my bro?
I guess SummerSlam '94. How about you?
Oh, well, next week, Bash at the Beach. I'm ready. I'm ready for the Hulkster to return and prove Vince McMahon wrong.
Which is probably going to happen. Yeah, that's probably going to happen too. That's probably
going to happen.
All
right. So that is the show. I'm proud of you, and follow us on Instagram, Ray Goots' Wrestling Pod. Let me go so my phone can cool off. Thanks, Andrew Lee.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, hold on. Wait. There we go.